Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's Mark from Powersonic and Apprentice 121, and in today's video we're doing a bit of commercial work. So I'm going to jump straight to it, show you what we're on with, and we'll talk about the install as we go along. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give a thumbs up, thumbs down, get involved in the comments. You know I enjoy joining in response. And yeah, let's get straight on with it. So we've got our little CU, our DB on the wall, and this is a Type A Eaton board. Got some trunking that shoots up above the ceiling there. We're going to join that in with our other containment, so we can bring our submain through that, land it in, and then drop it down into this board. Nice swoop underneath, bit of paxolin going between these two just to space them apart a bit so you can get the trunking lid on and the DB door will open nicely. Obviously bolt it together as well through the paxolin, and then you can see the new climb level I've got. I showed this on Instagram the other day. Auto adjusts as you spin it around. You can see there I've set it to alarm when it goes near 90 degrees, so that's a pretty nice feature, and as you go away that beeping stops. Also, if you put it on a level surface, so if I chuck it on the floor down here, you can see it reverts to a little spirit bubble. So it's a really nice bit of kit from Klein, actually. Impressed with that. But anyway, with this install we've got a little office that we're fitting out here, temporary board coming down until the main part of the work's done, but we've got a few sockets to stick in. We've got a bit of containment that's above ceiling level here, and I'll show you that, a bit of tray we're putting in. And yeah, just got some sockets around in LSF cabling, so we've got that. Plenty of containment going up, and we're in a sub-main down here as well, and I'll show you the route for that in a bit, so you can have a little look at what the plan is. Decorator went through the ceiling the other day, so we've got a room with a view, bit of a skylight. It actually helped me out because it's letting in some light over here. Got the uni light set up, but to be honest don't really need it on, it's nice and bright. So yeah, I am gonna press on and I will drop back in with you all in a short while. Yeah, so the main intake's down the other end over there, and we've got to bring a supply cable over across the top of this building here. We've got a bit of containment up there already, luckily, that we can tie into, so we're going to do that. And then we've got some tray that we're going to put between these two buildings. That's just to take the cable across, and then I'll show you inside the little room of doom. So we've got the DB on, and I've wired it to a point. All the final circuits are in for now. We're missing a couple of RCBOs for the whole job, but we've made it as decent as we can in the time being. We're going to gland in the steel wire armour into the top of there. We've got our bits of tray up, they're sitting on the top up there, so we can tie our cables onto those. And yeah, it was just to keep the cabling off the insulation, because this is all going to be filled with insulation, just to try and make it a little bit warm in here. They've got pipe work brought in, so they're going to have a little radiator. It's not going to be a real fancy room. We're just going to kind of joint the walls and stick a bit of paint on. I don't think it's a case of they're going to plaster it or anything like that. It's just temporary while they get the rest of the building refit, so they're going to move their little packaging team into here, I think. And then this ultimately is going to become something else. So this is all very much for the short term, I believe. A couple of pillars down the middle, and we've brought power down those as well. We're using LSF cabling, so that's the low smoke, just twin and CPC. Hager, Solista, or whatever they're called, accessories. You can see there, Hager. Really nice. The terminations on the back are nice and deep, and yeah, really good finish, solid as well. Obviously these are going into plasterboard walls, so they can whap a little bit, especially when the builders have used 600 centres on some of them. So even with the noggins in, it's not always the firmest bit of material to work from, and sometimes with the cheap socket fronts you can kind of have them crack and split as you're nipping them up. But these Hager ones are proper decent quality. Something else to talk about while I remember is this little lot. Actually this, I think I've shown this in another video, and Will's Electric's got one of these as well. I've had it yonks and they're absolutely fantastic. If you're ever on a Screwfix bargain hunt, these McAllister tables, I think the branding is something else by other people as well, but all the same things, just pop up. These are from a gent on Twitter who I saw share a picture of them. They're glow in the dark from CK, and they're absolutely incredible. I really like them. The handles on them are really comfortable. The glow in the dark feature is a bit gimmicky, to be honest, but I mean, it's a bit of a dark room, this one, so I've noticed them glowing away. It's just a bit of a niche feature, but yeah, I really like them. Well labelled on the ends, slim line as well, and yeah, really solid feel to them. Also, I've got some of these croppers here. As you all have noticed, I'm collecting the old croppers, and these are by Nielsen, and they're 15 quid, and the thing I like about them is they're VDE. So I've been using these today, and they're really decent actually for the money. You know, I said about in the last video, the weir ones trumped everything else just because of the VDE. But for 15 quid, I can't knock these so far. I need to use them a bit longer just to see if they blunt or dull or anything. But yeah, for the time being, they're absolutely awesome. So speaking about the board again, this one's from Eaton. It's a Type A single phase board, RCBOs. I've got a C6 on the lighting. There's only 3 batten lights going in here, but you know, I had a C6 in stock, so I've just used that on the job. It's perfectly fine to do so. And again, I've got the B20s on the couple of socket radial circuits we're dropping in. There's not a lot of load in this space. It is just for some computers and some weighing scales, and yeah, there's next to no load. They've got central heating coming down here, so they're not going to have leaky heaters or anything plugged in. And yeah, nice, neat, tidy board. Bought the LSF through the trunking and into the board itself, so it doesn't need to be IP4X on the trunking because there's no singles in there. I've got a bit of a temporary clip on. I'm going to get some cable tie brackets on and just hold them down inside the trunking. And again, this isn't even actually secured to the wall. Still need to put some noggins in the back, so it's just temporarily screwed up. We'll get some noggins across and fix it right with some washers and screws. But my impatience to get on with the job led me to just use some wall dogs and get it stuck up there for the time being. This has noggins in the back, so this is on nice and secure. And yeah, I've got the turnbuckles in. It's a bit of a mismatch because I've got tan light ones in, and I think that's a Legrand bit of trunking, but yeah, they were what I had in my little tub, so they've gone in for the minute. I'll probably swap them to something that matches before the job's finished. I think that's kind of where we're at. I'll just spin you. See, it's always one of those with the commercial jobs. It's often in the planning and making sure you get your circuit designed right, because it's volt drop that's the enemy on stuff like this. We've got about a 40 metre run down to that main panel board, and we could have gone with a much smaller size cable in truth, but because we know what's coming in the future, it's pointless to repeat the labour aspect of installing it. We might as well get it in right first time, and then we're good to go later on, aren't we? It's common sense, I think, rather than bill a customer twice for pulling another cable in. Yeah, so that was the reason for that. And otherwise, this is the first day done now, so we're all sort of finished. There's been the 3 of us in here working today. Go around again, we've got the light fitting cables dropped through. They're ready to second fix, and they are going to just be LED battens. I think the 6-foot double battened LEDs colour changing as well, so they can select the colour they want. They didn't want it too bright. All switched individually. One of them's an emergency one, just going across this walkway there between the exits. And test point over there, light switch over there. These are these brackets you can use for your light switches and sockets. They slot together, and then you kind of wrap the ends around your timbers and secure them in place, and then you can use a metal fixing to get your back box on. Really quick and simple. If you don't like messing about with noggins, they're ideal. We've got these standoff brackets, so that's for the tray we're going to run between these 2 buildings that I showed you, so they're all prepped and ready to knock in. I assume they've counted and that's what we need, and that's why they're ready to be done. That's the little heating point I was mentioning. And yeah, we've got on top of the building some tray, so I'll show you that as well when I go up there and show you the tray. So we've linked it all together and brought the cables across it. And as I said, really that is just for the insulation. You can see it's piled down here. There's loads of it out in the warehouse, and they're going to slap it all over the place. And while the cable wouldn't need derating, it made sense just to get it nice and tidy up there rather than clip it on the noggins. And it's a bit of containment if anyone else needs to drop anything else in as well. Why not? You know, it made perfect sense to do so, because, you know, knowing what this room is going to become in the future, that tray will definitely get used for a bigger, better purpose. Okay, so that's day 1 done. We've got the first fix done in that little room, and we're all sort of second fixed in parts as well. As I said, it's not going to be plastered in there, it's just getting taped and joined, and so we've got the finished accessories on. And yeah, we're going to leave it there. We'll drop back tomorrow. We've got the sub main to pull in, and we'll pick up with that and piece it all together. Day 2 should be finished. I would have said, I don't see any reason why not. We've only got like the 40-metre pull and then wire everything in to get the testing done. And yeah, I'll show you the finished product. Obviously the outside of the building still needs to be boarded and finished by the builders, but otherwise that'll be it for this stage. And yeah, you can go spin around and you can see the scale of this. We've got all this to sort as well as time moves along, so this is quite a big job, but just for the minute it was getting this little bit sorted. Hi, welcome back, it's Mark, and this is day 2 of the commercial job we're on. I'm going to jump straight to the footage again out on site. We're just going to have a little run through the work which we've done on that day. You can see what you think of it and let me know in the comments if you'd have done things a little bit different, or if you've got any questions. I'm always happy to answer them. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's cut straight to it and see what we're getting on with. So this is a little bit of tray I was talking about that we've got up on the wall, and got the end caps in. Take you in a bit closer. You can see that. We could have just cleated along here. I mean, the plumbers have popped the pipes on, but it's just a bit of a neater job. Keeps it nice and tidy and well supported. It then loops into that trunking side. So if I show you around here, you can see steel wire armour goes into the trunking, drops down in here, so it's still in its outer secondary layer of insulation on the inside of the steel wire armouring. So obviously we've taken the armourings off, glanded it, but we brought the double insulation all the way to the consumer unit distribution board, and then split it inside the board. And the reason for that is we don't have to maintain IP4X on the trunking, and it just keeps it a little bit neater for the future, bearing in mind this is probably going to move. So I was trying to leave as much length on everything as possible just for that stage really. Normally we'd strip it to singles and drop it down in the trunking so it's a bit easier to dress away, but in this instance it made a bit more sense to keep it like that. I'll show you inside the distribution board as well later on with it all finished, but we've just got it energised and we're going to do some live testing now, so I'll jump back on in a bit with that. We've got our boxes on the wall, key switch to test the emergency lights, they're all up and done. So these two are just normal LED buttons, and this one is the emergency one. There's a colour changing option on them all as well, so you can adjust them to daylight white, cool white and warm white. So if they're not happy with how bright it is, we can just knock it down to a different light shade, and that should help them out. Sockets all on, so we'll get on with some testing and I'll jump back on in a bit. As you can see, we've got the board on now. We've got the bonding conductor onto the trunking. All the cables are in and terminated. We've done our dead and live tests. You can see just in the bottom there, we've got the outer insulation on all the conductors coming in as well. It's nice and tidy, plenty of room in there for any future additions and messing about. We've still got a few other circuits to drop in. I'm going to pop the lid on, get the power on, and I'll show you around some of the rest of the installation. Now we've got it to a stage ready for the builders to crack on. So these are the light fittings, and they're from Knightsbridge. This is the emergency pack one between the two doorways. You can see over here where we've got the battery pack and the emergency light control. Push fit terminal blocks, so that's always a nice added extra. Like I say, from Knightsbridge, they're colour selectable as well. I'll show you up here. You can see you get the little dial there to change between daylight white, cool white and warm white. I think the standard ones are between 30 and 40 quid, and the battery emergency one was, I believe, somewhere between 50 and 60, but I'd have to have a look on the bill of materials. And yeah, we've got the sockets on now. As I said, this is going to be taped. It's nothing too fancy in here, so they're not having it skimmed. The board's on, as you can see. The lid opens down just fine. The trunking's not fouling it, and that's because of the sheet of paxolin that's in there. So there's the paxolin just to give it a little bit of space off the trunking, and then it's bolted through onto the trunking. And I've also put a bonding lead on, which goes onto the trunking as well, just to make sure that that's all properly earthed up onto the tray and carry that on as well. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I'll get the power on. I'll show you how these lights look illuminated. Obviously that's that one just in emergency mode. Builders have been in a bit today, putting some more of the board on the outside of the building. But yeah, we can get them some power on. We've got the key switch over here. Just been through and tested all these sockets, and we're happy with how they're working. I'll show you out over this side. So again, we've got our little run across and the end caps are on the brackets there as well. Extra support on the corner as it just bends around on the tray to the top of this building. You can see on this side the borders have been in and worked their magic today. I think they've done this. Yeah, they've done this one as well, so we're all good. And yeah, the lights on now and you can see they illuminate things pretty well. So we've got nice bright coverage across all the floor. This is on cool white, which I think covers the job pretty nicely. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how they light the place up. If they want to adjust the colour code, they can. For the time being, I think that's kind of it finished. So just to talk about the supply circuit down here, I mentioned in the earlier recording on day one of this, it's primarily based on volt drop. Obviously we've got not a lot of load down here anyway. We could have gone for a smaller conductor. This is a 25mm 3-core. It's only about 40 metres in length, so it wasn't really necessary, but we know there's going to be additional loads down here in the future and we're kind of planning for that. This is the first video of part of a larger series on this job, and just to get this temporary office set up. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm just going to quickly jump off and talk about some of the tools I've shown in this video, not because they're paid or sponsored, but because I quite like them, been impressed with them. So we'll jump to that and I'll have a chat with you in the van. So this is the Klein Tools level I just wanted to speak about a bit closer up because I'm really impressed with it. It's a special shipment in from the US. I bought it myself direct from America. I think it was £42, including the shipping, which I thought was pretty cool. You can see here it does a level measurement if you put it on a flat surface. If you flip it around, it'll automatically adjust. You can twist it over sideways as well and it will illuminate exactly on 90 degrees. It will also, if you set it to, in the settings, if I hold them down, you enter a little setup menu. You can set an angle. So if we go into set angle, you can see there that the alarm's showing as off at the moment. If I flick that up to on and then save it, so if I now pop it up like this, it should, when it gets near 90 degrees, if I can move it in the right direction, there look, my desk's obviously not particularly level. You can see as you move it onto the 90, it will give you a little bleep, which is a nice little extra feature, I think. Yeah, really nice bright display. It takes AA batteries. Can't knock it. Magnetic. You can see on there really strong magnets as well. These work a treat if you're trying to find screws in plasterboard walls. That was one of the other uses I made of it. Just a really nice tool. I probably think this is decent quality stuff. I know the version before was a bit smaller, but it didn't have as many features. Probably does a lot more than I'm showing you as well on this one. It is the Klein Tools 935 DAGL. If you want to get yourself one, you'd have to arrange shipping from America at the moment. I don't think they're out yet, but Mike from Loadout Shop has mentioned that he's expecting to have stock of this soon, so it's worth keeping an eye on his socials and the Loadout Shop as well to see when that's available if you're looking to get yourself one.